Hello, folks. This is Anthony. Welcome back to the channel. Recent question. Can I make some money with my Honda Snowblower? Yes, you can. You can make a lot of money with your Honda Snowblower. I've done it in the past, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'll show you how to start. I'll show you how to get customers and what you need and the costs and expenses and the potential profits. So let's get going here. I'll show you what I did. This is what I did. When I retired from UPS, I got bored after about 10 minutes and I was almost 60 years old. And I told the wife, I says, I'm going to go see if I can make money with my old 80 here. Right now, I'm doing some work to it. I'm fixing the impeller kit. Well, anyways, I loaded the 80 in my pickup truck and started driving around during the snowstorm around my neighborhood in Truckee, California. I'd see somebody shoveling their berm, what the plow left them, and I'd ask them, I says, "You need any help with that?" And they said, "Oh yeah, yeah. Can you help me? How much would you charge?" Well, this was about 10 years ago. So I said, "Well, I can do the berm for you at about $20." And they said, "Sure." So I unloaded the Honda, did the berm, and usually the berm only took a few minutes. It wasn't that big. And I was done in about 20 minutes or so, and the person would give me $40. And I said, "Well, I only asked for 20." And they said, "Man, you saved me so much money. Please take this." So I'll go, okay. So I just drove around and started asking people if they needed help. Most people said yes. And I'd say, all right, for $20. It depended on the size of the job. If they wanted me to do the whole driveway, I says, "Oh, $40. And remember, this was 10 years ago. And they'd say, okay, and I'd do it, and they almost always gave me more. They'd give me $60. They'd give me $100. Some people would give you money, and then they'd give you some beer or some wine or champagne or something. But anyways, that's how I started. And I started with this little machine here. And then after a while, people were asking me, "Can you do my deck?" I said, "Sure." So I'd get a couple shovels. I started bringing a couple shovels with me and a broom. And they say, "Hey, can you do my back deck?" And they said, "How much?" It depends on how much snow there is. If there's just a little bit of snow, and you kind of figure out after experience how long it's going to take. It might take a half an hour, it might take an hour. So I said to myself, well, I need to make about, I don't know, $40 an hour. So I'd give them a quote, and they'd always say, okay, sure, because everybody else was charging them more. So I'd do their deck, and they almost always gave me more. And then people would start asking me, "Can you come around the next time it snows and do my deck or do my berm for me? I'll just pay you every time." And I says, "All right." So after a while, I started getting busy, and so I got this little 621. This is a great little snow thrower for decks and walkways or the driveway if it only has like 8 inches or less. So I got one of these, and then I got I wanted to have a backup blower. So I got an old 828. So I had my 80, and if anything, excuse me, if anything happened to it, I could take out my 828 and work it. And then I got an 1132 like this one. This is the big boy, one of the big boys in the Honda lineup. It's an 1132. And some people would have big driveways and large berms. In the Sierra Tahoe area, we can get three or 4 feet of snow sometimes, and the berms can be huge. They can be 3 feet high, 4 feet high. So I'd bring out the monster. I'd have I'd have two machines in the back of the truck, and I'd just bring out the monster and eat out that berm in just a little while. So after a while, I was having more. I wasn't even advertising on Facebook, which I suggest you do if you want to start a part time side hustle on this. Put on social media. Nextdoor.com, Facebook, the local Facebook pages. Tell people that you can do it as a per basis, each time instead of having a contract, you just a cash basis says, hey, just message me or call me, and I'll come over and I'll do your driveway or your berm or your decks or your walkways or whatever. You'd be amazed how much work you're gonna get. And after a while, I just had to stop doing it. I mean, it was fun at first, and then I got tired of getting up really early in the morning to do it. I really didn't do it for the money so much as of having fun. And I took all the extra money I was making, and I was buying more tools, and I buy more snow blowers and stuff like that. So I don't do it anymore. I might do it for one of my neighbors, okay, if they're gone to Hawaii for the week, and they'll ask me, hey, Anthony, can you keep my driveway clean during the week? I said, yeah, all right. So I've had a lot of people come over to the garage. They might want to buy an 1132 just for that purpose. And a couple years ago, a young man came over and bought an 1132 for this reason. He says, "Yeah, Anthony, I'm going to use it to start a snow removal business." And I can't remember how much he paid for it. This is like 3 or 4 years ago. So he bought it, and sure enough, a couple weekends later, we had a huge storm here. And he messaged me and he says, "Hey, I made $2,000 in 3 days just doing what you said, going around, and now I've got 13 new clients." And he got so busy that he had to get his brother in on the deal, and he came over and bought another 1132. And I suggested to him, to get the smaller, uh, like a 621 or a 720, one of these single stages, 520, 621, 720. Get one of these that can do a lot of quick work on driveways, decks, whatever. He also had shovels, and or a 724 like this one. This is a 724. This is a great double duty machine. It can do everything. It can do driveways and decks, and it's not really big. And so I suggested to him that he get several different sizes. And last year, I think he graduated to doing roofs. So now he's got a crew of 5 people, 4 or 5 people, and they'll do a roof, which was really big business in our area. And he was, my neighbor had to hire somebody for their roof. It was $3,500 to clean off the roof, and that was cheap. I mean, around here, people were getting 5,000, 8,000, $10,000 to shovel off their roofs. We had 7 or 8 feet of snow on our roof. Excuse me. And we almost had to hire somebody. But anyways, my friend, he graduated to doing roofs, and he still does driveways and decks and stuff when the snowfalls are small. They haven't built up on the roofs yet, but so he started out just with one machine, like I suggested, and then just slowly built up. You don't want to. I don't recommend. I do not recommend you laying out a bunch of cash if you're going to start this business, because you don't want to start out with $5,000 or $10,000 and buy two or three machines, and then what happens? It doesn't snow, or we have a drought year or whatever. So I really don't suggest you do that. I mean, in most cases, you people already have the machines. So just play it by ear. Just drive around, tell all your friends and neighbors, look for opportunities, and just slowly build up your business from one machine to two to three or whatever. So that's what I recommend, because this is really just a side job, during the winter. And then in the summertime, you can work your regular job all year round, or in the summertime, you can, do landscaping like a lot of snow removal companies do around here. But a lot of people were asking me about this, since I've got the Facebook group and the Honda Snowblower channel on YouTube. They're always asking me these type of questions. So I get a pretty good feel on what people want to know about starting one of these businesses. So I say, well, start small. And here's the main thing, and this is what I tell everybody. You're going to have to learn how to work on these machines, get some basic tools and learn how to work on these machines, because you don't want to be giving up all your profits to the shops. I can see bring it to the shop for an emergency repair or whatever, but the shops are charging $100, $125 an hour, you know, and it's really a good idea to join the Facebook group, Honda Snowblower Enthusiasts. Start watching our videos. A lot of the stuff that goes wrong on a Honda Snowblower is pretty simple to fix. Adjustments, shear pins, replacing a belt or whatever. So here's where preventive maintenance comes in. You want to make sure the machine is ready for the winter, so you'll have less problems. Now, if you're using your machine on a professional basis, you could be using it 8 to 12 hours a day, and you're gonna have problems with it. I mean, you're gonna have to increase the service interview, and you're gonna have to do more work on it. So you have to factor that into your pricing. You said, "Oh, I'm making $100 an hour." Well, not really. I mean, it sounds like easy money, good money, but you're not making $100 an hour. You got to factor in, gasoline for your truck, wear and tear on your truck, wear and tear on your machines. Okay. So I figured it out. I can't remember how much I was making an hour. I was probably averaging 80 to $125 an hour. But you have to factor in overhead costs like that. So much for your overhead, which is probably around 25-35% actually. And I really didn't keep good records because I wasn't really a professional. I was only doing this occasionally, and then I'd take the money and buy more tools and buy more snow blowers and maybe buy some pizza and beer. I wasn't doing it seriously, but I figured out that okay, I was making, let's say I was making $100 an hour. It wasn't all profit. You got your gasoline for the truck and parts for the snow blowers and whatever else that's involved in the overhead. And you also have to factor in your time. So you figure so much for overhead, so much, maybe 40 or $50 an hour for your time. If you have to hire somebody, if you become professional, then you have to work, take into account taxes and maybe hiring somebody and what you're going to pay them. But I really suggest you learn how to work on these machines so you can keep a lot more of your profits, because that's a big cost if you bring it to the shop. And you have to figure that out for yourself too, because when you're done for the day, 8 hours or 10 hours or whatever, you're going to have to bring your machines into the shop and inspect them and do adjustments and repairs. So you have to factor that time in too. You're thinking you're making great money, but you have to run the numbers uh, to keep track of all your costs and everything and see what you're really making. But it's a really fun job for me. It was a lot of fun to do, and it was a lot of fun helping people and getting out there and getting some exercise. And if you're seriously considering about doing something like this, start small, and see how it goes. The first couple storms, go out there and get a feel of what's involved. The pricing, people ask me that all the time. What do you charge? What do you charge? And I said, well, that comes from experience. Uh, you want to make, I think you want to average, 80 to $100 an hour minimum. Some places, the professional outfits, I think they charge more, especially if they're doing commercial accounts. But I would just stick with your neighbors, friends, neighbors, residential at first and see what happens. And you get a feel. I made a mistake one time. The people said, well, we'll give you $100 if you'll keep our driveway clean all week when we go to Hawaii. Well, I had to go over there 7 times. I mean, it snowed every single day, and I was out there every day, sometimes twice a day, doing their driveway. So I'm lucky if I made $5 an hour. So I stopped doing that. I learned from experience to charge by the job. I says, okay, this driveway is going to take me, excuse me, the berm or the driveway is going to take me 30 minutes. Excuse me. And I had a minimum of, say, $60 or whatever, or $100 if it was an hour. And so I would charge. After a while, you get plenty of experience. You know how long you've probably been snow blowing your own driveway for years, so you know how long it takes you to do yours and your decks and your walkways or whatever. And you'll say, okay, yeah, it's on average it's going to take me an hour to do your driveway. So you quote them a price of $80 or $100, and always go the extra mile too. You see something that needs to be done, do their steps, do the walkway for free, do a couple other things. Make them really happy so they want to use you again and recommend you to their neighbors. Okay, it's a win-win situation. Pretty soon you'll have so much work you won't know what to do with it. And so a lot of it is experience wise. At first, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to underbid. You may overbid, but after a while, you'll get a general feel on how much to charge. And remember, you have to lay out costs for your tools, for your time in the shop if you're doing your own work, or your overhead costs for your gas and using a professional to help you repair the machines. So I hope this helps you folks. I was getting this question a lot the last couple years, and people every time people come over, I ask them. I says, "Why are you buying this snowblower?" Like I got a gentleman coming over today that's going to purchase this 724. He's a young guy with a young family, with a baby, and he wants to start making money with it. So I'll probably spend, quite a bit of time talking to him how he can make the most money with this machine, and perhaps, if he starts doing well, he'll want to buy another machine from me. So it's a win-win. So I hope this helped you. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions or comments, leave them in the comments. I'm always looking for ideas for new videos. I'm always looking for ideas to help you folks save money, by working on your own equipment. Thank you very much. Have a great day.